It was about 50, 60 feet high, maybe.
8th of August 2007. The remains of an RAF Puma helicopter lie in a field in North Yorkshire. 3 airmen were killed when it came down. The pilot, 28-year-old Flight Lieutenant David Sale, as well as 27-year-old Sergeant Philip Burfoot and Private Sean Tate, who was 17. The fatal flight was meant to be the final trip of a 2-day training exercise. Now, a coroner has said that the running of the RAF base where the 3 men were being trained leaves much to be desired. The inquest heard that the Johnny Cash song Ring of Fire was being played over the cockpit speaker, and release of the in-flight voice recorder has revealed that the men were joking around as they were flying.
Hey! Oh, you're a good for a bit of a ride.
Shouldn't have looked a little low on that bottom answer.
Yeah, kind of saw that out the door.
Coroner Jeff Fell said the pilot may not have had the training needed to carry out the rescue manoeuvre which led to the crash. But he also picked up on other things which might have led to the tragedy. One was the poor admin back at this base, RAF Benson. He said paperwork was either missing or incomplete, and it was unclear whether the men on board the Puma were qualified to be there. Furthermore, they were making the low-level flight without an instructor watching them. The inquest even heard how a taxi driver stopped in the road as the Puma helicopter flew a few feet above his car. The crew were supposed to be learning how to cope in combat situations. Acting Assistant Chief Constable Steve Reed was the senior investigating officer who led the inquiry.
During that thorough inquiry, the issues with regard to administration, the issues with regard to airmanship, and the issues with regard to culture were thrown up. And I believe that Mr. Fell's narrative verdict today, calling as he did into question the deteriorating standards of airmanship, discipline and administration, reflect the product of that very thorough investigation.
Recording his verdict, Coroner Mr. Fell said the pilot of the helicopter was attempting a flying manoeuvre which was beyond his capabilities, or those of the Puma, or a combination of both. Against a background of deteriorating administration, airmanship and discipline, the helicopter crashed. Speaking outside Harrogate Magistrates Court, Group Captain Jonathan Burr from RAF Benson said there have been changes at the base.
We have changed the way that we supervise, manage and task our Puma operations, both at home and when deployed overseas, to ensure that such events cannot be repeated as far as is humanly possible. The Armed Forces are a learning organisation that constantly seek to learn and strive for perfection.
It is only to be hoped that after an inquest that proved painful for all who were involved, lessons will indeed be learned.